It's been interesting to see the effects, the Bud Light effect, the Target now, what's happening with Target. And some people say, "Oh, well, this is all temporary. It's just stocks. It'll go back up." And I don't really understand a lot of that conversation, but it does seem to be having a real effect on these corporations who are, funded through ESG, CEI, whatever the other three-letter
Mm.
things are. And this was just out today. Target loses 12.7 billion, sinks to lowest level. This is their stock since the 2020 since the year 2020 over boycotts. Target stock has lost a whopping 12.7 billion over the past 2 weeks, hitting its lowest levels in nearly 3 years as the cheap chic. Who's calling them cheap chic?
I
My
wouldn't call them
god.
cheap. I definitely call them cheap.
No, it's like one step above Old Navy. The cheap chic discount retailer continues to face backlash over LGBTQ friendly kids clothing. Shares of the embattled chain were off 0.3% at 133.42 in early Wednesday trades after dropping for 8 straight sessions, the stock's longest streak since November 2018. I don't really understand a lot of this. That's 17% from 2 weeks earlier on May 18th when the stock
A lot.
was trading at 160.96 on the eve of the crisis. It's also the lowest levels Target shares have been since the company was recovering from the depths of the pandemic in mid-2020. The ongoing losses are the result of an ongoing 14-day boycott that was triggered by Target's release of the Pride. It's not even June yet. This is all happening before June.
I
Kind of
mean, good luck to them
hilarious.
in Pride. Their stocks are already going down.
It's gonna be a long June, especially when you start June in May. An
Yeah.
LGBTQ friendly line that includes clothing for children and tuck friendly women's swimwear. That tuck friendly bathing suit really did them in. Whew.
Did
Other
you see
items.
Alex Stein? He
Yeah,
dressed up in it.
I was so happy that he did that because I was like, he is the perfect person to try that on and run around in his loafers, and that was just fun. That was fun to watch.
Yeah.
Other items in the line include a onesie for infants that say "Bien Proud," a children's book titled "'Twas the Night Before Pride." Yeah, kids don't care about this shit. And a handful of teens
Exactly.
donning LGBTQ friendly signs like "Live, Laugh, Lesbian." "Live, Laugh, Lesbian" would be a hilarious shirt for an adult.
Right.
I I just don't think it's good for kids. Customers have accused Target of grooming children with the items. Most recently, alt-right rapper Forgiato Blow, who's topping the iTunes chart with his new rap song "Boycott Target." I just read that today. Yeah, I think it's number
Mm,
1 on iTunes. It's a pretty good
right.
song. It's a decent music video. They're, like, actually in a Target, and the whole time I'm watching the
Right.
video, I'm like, "Are they gonna get trouble? Am I gonna see, like, some guy, like, be like, 'Hey, stop it.'"
Yeah.
They were fine. Um, the song lyrics address the LGBTQ agenda that the rapper sings have gone too far. "Attention all shoppers, there's a cleanup on every aisle. Target is targeting your kids." As a result of the incessant backlash, the retailer said it would remove items from the Pride collection, citing volatile circumstances and confrontational behavior. And when I first read this, I thought, oh, I thought to the one video I saw of some guy like taking off the display, and I was like, oh, are they going to pin
Mm,
this on like right wingers or conservatives? And I looked into it, and it's actually they've a couple of targets, 3 of them, maybe one's in Utah, I forget the other 2 states, have received bomb threats, but, like, it seems like one specifically came from a leftist that was like, "How dare you," they didn't say bend the knee, but they said, "How dare you, you know, listen to these racist, homophobic rednecks." Like, the bomb threats are coming from the left because they're upset
mm.
that the displays are being moved, and I was just like, "Wow." It's just there's continuous bullying behavior coming from the left wing on this, and they make themselves look so bad.
Mm. I mean, it's the same crowd. It's the be kind, the inclusive crowd. They're often the most violent. I mean, look at the women's rights rallies, or even Alex Stein, we just spoke about. He's been attacked and physically assaulted by these trans activists simply for smiling and having an opinion. So the violence often does come from them.
Yeah, it's really it's almost hard to believe that this is actually having a real impact because I
Mm.
feel like a lot of people were upset with Nike and several other companies for supporting BLM, and it just didn't seem like there was any real consequence,
I
from people.
mean, look what happened to BLM. They're going bankrupt and they spent
True.
millions, not tens of millions on mansions. The co-founder's brother received 1.6 million for security service, yet his official job, he was a graffiti artist. I mean, come on. So all of those companies got scammed, but it was virtue signaling. You know, they were giving all the money to BLM because it was virtue signaling. And they're doing the same again. They don't care about the rights. They don't care about anyone. They just care about their profits. So I hope that this is a wake up call because, you know, Bud Light lost 6 billion, Target's lost 12 billion. You know, stocks do fluctuate, they do go down, they do go up, but this is very significant, especially for Target in 14 days to lose 12.7 billion. That is huge. So hopefully, you know, these companies, they don't care about issues, they virtue signal. Hopefully this will be enough to wake them up. Although I doubt it because many of these companies are pushing this corporate equality index, this DEI initiative, and you know, they have all the same shareholders and investors. And I think what they're trying to do is just make all of these companies woke, push all this propaganda, and then hope that you know they might lose losses in the short term, but in the long term, people will just well, you know you can't boycott anymore because every company's woke. Miller Lite went woke, Bud Light's woke, Nike, Adidas. So you don't have
Kohl's,
consumer choice anymore.
I heard Kohl's has a similar, they're putting out some, like, rainbow kids clothes. Imma have to check out the situation.
Really? Oh, yes, I heard something about that actually. Yeah, I need to check that out. It's
That's the thing
crazy.
is, like, all you had to do was not fuck with the kids because I think Target has
Right.
had a relationship with GLSEN for the better part of
Mhm.
10 years, but now that there's all this outrage, people are pointing that fact out as well, like, wow, so here it says Target gave 2.1 million to LGBTQ group, which is called GLSEN, that urges kids to hide their gender transition from their parents. So now this is all coming out. Yeah, it stands for the Gay, Lesbian, and Straight Education Network. I had a roommate when I lived in Williamsburg who worked for GLSEN, and, she didn't like me. I just
Must be your sense of humor. They don't seem to have a sense of humor on the left.
it could have been my sense of humor, or it could have been the fact that I hooked up with somebody on the kitchen table and I didn't realize she was home.
Well,
I didn't
that
realize
could be it as well.
I didn't realize she was in her room. She was being all quiet. She was in there and cranking it up, and I had no
Oh
idea.
no! Oh my god, that's very embarrassing.
And I think we should all be impressed that it was an IKEA table and it stayed together. It didn't fall apart.
Wow, well that's a great advertisement for IKEA. You should be the new
Right?
face of the brand. Chrissy on an IKEA table getting railed.
Be like, "Look,
Maybe
it's so
not.
sturdy." And then they kicked me out of the apartment shortly after that incident, but that's neither here nor there. Okay, so now their Target is getting shit for their, relationship with GLSEN. That's not helping at this time.
And can I just say as well, Chrissy, the Target vice president, I believe it was the vice president of marketing, has been exposed by the New York Post and Daily Mail. They actually found out that he is also the treasurer, the current treasurer, and a board of directors member for GLSEN. So he's on a
Wow.
voluntary basis. He's employed by Target as a vice president, I believe, of marketing, but he is actually the treasurer for this organization that received the 2.1 million. So that kind of tells you a lot of things that he has obviously been lobbying Target. You
Yep.
know, and that's obviously breaking some rules. He's been lobbying Target on behalf of this organization where he's volunteering on the board of directors and a treasurer. So you know, that speaks volumes.
Wow, that's absolutely a conflict of interest. I wonder if
Right.
he has tried on the tuck-friendly bathing suit.
I'm sure he was. I'm sure it was probably his idea. You know, if he's got this lobby group and he's looking after them and pushing them into Target, I'm sure he was the first one that thought, you know, how can I tuck this in to a swimming costume and see if it looks good? And it doesn't look good because I mean, you saw Alex Stein. You can still see the
Hideous! It's
bulge.
a
You can
hideous
still see the
bathing
bulge.
suit. No
It was a
woman,
horrible
like,
colour.
could just yeah. I was like, clearly that's something a dude would wear because it's like
Exactly.
blue and lime green and magenta, and I was like, "What are we doing here?"
I mean, women have good taste, right? Women know how to dress themselves, and I don't imagine a woman would be able to put herself in that and think, "Oh yeah, this is beautiful. This is nice."
That is the exactly the type of bathing suit that a guy that wants to sneak into a women's restroom would wear, like, that's exactly what
Right.
I picture. Oh, we have a super chat from Captain Spire. Do you and Ollie think that we've conditioned ourselves to boycott companies that get woke? Eventually, so many companies will go woke. Where will we go without being hypocrites in our fight against the woke? This is such a good question because I feel like Target is a hard place to boycott because it sells food,
Right.
it sells so many daily essentials, and sometimes people don't have a Walmart, the next
Right.
town over.
Well, that's a great point. Thank you for the question, Captain Spire. And that's actually just what I was kind of mentioning because, I think that's their plan because all of these companies have the same investors. They have BlackRock and Vanguard. And these are the companies, they have trillions of dollars in assets. They're pushing these companies to be diverse, to be inclusive, and they're being lobbied by the human rights group. So I think that, sure, Target's lost 12 billion, Bud Light's lost 6 billion, and that's a loss. That's a big, big loss. But I think that's a short term loss. And I think they're hoping that so many of their companies are going to go woke. Like you have Adidas and Nike both going woke. So it's kind of hard now to buy sportswear because the two biggest companies are woke. Same with beer, Bud Light and Coors and Miller Lite, they're all going woke. Very difficult to have that consumer choice. So I think that's their ultimate goal is to keep pushing this. They'll have to take short-term hits in their stocks in being
Wow.
boycotted for a short term. But I think they're hoping that eventually they push through that every single company is going to be woke, that consumers will not have a choice. Visit places like Public Square, which is a conservative outlet, which tells you which brands have good values.
That is
Mm,
so I've been seeing a lot of that, and I haven't, looked at it. This is
mm.
not an ad, by the way. Um,
No, it's not. I was just mentioning it because,
I just
for
think
everybody
it's so
listening,
interesting. Yeah, okay.
I think for everyone, listening to this, I think everyone's getting sick of all these woke companies, and
Oh, yeah.
this is a platform where you can actually check out which company has Christian values, conservative values, which basically company isn't woke, and it's nice to be able to have that consumer
Wow.
choice and to support companies that have values.
I think if e like, my plan is I'm gonna go through this public square. If I can find even, like, 1 or 2 things that I like that I would buy on here, I think
Mm,
it's worth, contributing, and you can add your
mm,
business to this. Okay, that's neat.
that's nice. Exactly.
Wow. Okay, that's very cool, public square. I'm gonna check that out. It just seems like there is a real demand for options, that aren't woke because if enough people band together and go, "I want to buy," like, I think, Yingling is one of the few companies that has been, come out as decidedly anti-woke, and I don't really know how capitalism works in a detailed way, but you figure, like, if enough regular people are just buying, say, Yingling, then are they less reliant than on a BlackRock or a Vanguard? Could you just be entirely funded by people? I don't know. I would hope that that's
Absolutely. I
possible.
mean, look at My Pillow, look at Goya Beans. They had a boycott from the left and backlash from the left for advertising on conservative channels and supporting conservative candidates, and they're doing very well. So conservatives are a fantastic loyal customer base. And if your company has values, and then you stick to those values, conservative consumers they appreciate that and they will always be loyal. So there are great companies out there, and they do very well if they, just stop going woke. So it's just silly, but all these companies they do have the same investors, and it's very hard if you're Nike and you have, Vanguard that has what I don't. I'm just making up, but like if they have 20 billion in stocks worth of whatever company it is, it's very hard for that company to say no because all their shareholders are putting this pressure on them. So it's tough.
It's very tough. Love you guys. Thank you for the chats. Thank you for the comments. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Bye. All right. Love you guys. God, I don't even want to leave. This candle smells so good. I don't want to leave. All right. Love you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye. Love you all. Join the Discord. Feet. Love you all. Wow. You guys are awesome. Come and get it. Bye, guys. Bye. Now I'm really leaving. Love you. Bye.